altruistic discipline that you cultivate every single day through self-discipline. You don't want to wake up at 3:30, but you answer the wake-up call. You answer the call of your conscience. You show up for yourself. And you show up for yourself because it is an inherent call to action of yourself, but it is also saying that if I let me down, then I could potentially let you down. And I'm not going to let you down because then that might give you the impression that you can let me down and you can't. And then I won't even offer you that opportunity because I'll show up for myself that you can't let me down. You see the inherent, there's multiple levels of psychology that are intercorrelated with just self-discipline, self-reliance, self-responsibility, caring for yourself. And sometimes, I wish I could tell people this, that I understood this 7 years ago. But to some degree as well is that applied knowledge is power. Just because I knew it doesn't mean I applied it. So I didn't know shit. I didn't do anything. I didn't know it because to know and not to do is to not to know. To know and not to do is to not to know. Okay, so that is the action. So ultimately what we do is we know and we do, and so then therefore we know and we do, and we do and we know. And we cultivate the wisdom of the knowledge. Okay, and this is through altruism. Altruism is being altruistic. It's standing for a high ideal, not settling for less. There are non-negotiables. There are ways to eat. There are ways to train. There are ways to keep your body lean. There are people who are 65 who look 25. There are people who are 25 who look 65. There are people who are, fit, rich, and rare, and they're young. And then there's people who are fit, rich, and rare, and they're old. So it doesn't necessarily matter about age. It matters about what? It matters about their discipline. It matters about their rituals. It matters about their routines. It matters about their organization. It matters about their schedules. It matters about how they cultivate themselves, how they embody themselves, with their mind, body, soul, mind, emotional, body, soul, and interconnection. Okay? And so that is the Trinity, the Jing, the Qi, the Shin, the interconnection of the three jewels. There's so many different types of things, from sexual energy to Qi energy, which is movement, which is, healing, massage, and then I really do think that these beta blockers and these all these different types of medications are to trigger these chemical induced and electrical induced, transmitters and ones and zeros of your gene switches. So then when you continuously take these medications, you are not just falling for the system, but you're also teaching your body to not run properly. And so ultimately you just need to run properly. You just need to go running properly. You need to sprint and you need to walk. You need to cultivate yourself. You need to count your macros. You need to, develop who you are. And as you develop who you are, you'll start to develop who you are. And as you live, we'll conclude it. As you live in the end of the wish fulfilled, as you live in that self-completion, self-actualization, self-realization, you have multiple realizations, you have one actualization, one completion of self, and one self-transcendence. Okay, you have a lot of realizations. I realize I don't want to be a drunkard. I realize I don't want to be, but then you have one self-actualization of who are you at the end of your life. You have one self-transcendence. Did you transcend your ego at the end of your life? Did you say, it doesn't matter what TC said. It didn't matter what TC wanted. I knew that if I didn't always instantly gratify TC, if I didn't instantly gratify TC's ego or TC the ego, then ultimately if I didn't gratify the straw man, if I didn't gratify the straw man, but instead I claimed my name and I lived as a living being, I lived as a living spirit, a human, as in light man, as in light being. Okay, as I live as a light being rather than my ego, rather than my flesh, as I live in the spirit rather than my flesh, then ultimately I am not going to instantly gratify, but instead live in gratitude. Instead, live in empathy and in compassion and in love, and actually have forgiveness for people who are still living within the flesh or living without the spirit. Their spirit is without them, meaning that they are living outside of themselves. External, exit. It's exited. It's exodus. There's so many intercorrelations. Think about what external is versus internal. Internal is eternal. Internal is eternal. That which cannot be seen is eternal. The only way that you can see inside of your body is through what? Different light spectrums. But you can't see within those light spectrums. You can only see